the Echo Network studios here in Royal Oak, Michigan. This is Odd Musings back live again, and we are your hosts. I'm Brett Pinson.
And I'm Scott Zambelli.
Welcome back, everybody. It's good to have you all hopefully watch us on the Facebook Live this week. Seems to be working at this moment. If not, you're all watching replays on YouTube, and maybe we'll restream it again like we did last week.
Indeed.
And that stuff. So, Scott, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm really happy now that Janice popped in. How you doing, Janice? She's on the live stream, so check in there if you want to be able to interact with us while we're on the air.
I do enjoy that when everybody comments and we're able to get back to those. And
it helps add to the show.
Yes, because, I mean, today we got a great show. We're going to be talking about our DNA results from HomeDNA.com.
Yes, and my true origins.
Yes, we get to find out what kind of alien Scott is. And then, and wonder, are you an illegal alien? Ooh. It doesn't tell us that, so just let you know. Spoilers. And that's going to be the majority of our shows talking about that, and talking about home DNA, the GPS origins. We were talking about that before the show, and we're still real excited about these results.
Yeah, it's been a fun partnership we've had with them these last few weeks as we've gone down this journey of discovering our ancestral roots.
Yes.
So,
I was very surprised, and hopefully you guys will be surprised too as some of this.
Yeah, I was very surprised, really. It's really cool. Yeah. And we'll get into all those details.
Yeah, and then I mentioned to Scott, last night I went and saw The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman.
I've been hearing such good reviews on that from everybody I know.
I loved it. Now, I was explaining to Scott a little bit, because he mentioned that he'd heard that it's really not the real story.
Yeah.
And it's not. So I use this analogy. For those that don't know, there's a John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart movie called The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. It's one of my favorite all-time Westerns. If you've not seen it, it's a really good movie, whether you like Westerns or not, because it's actually almost a noir Western in some ways. I believe John Ford directed that. And the basics of the story is you have a guy who comes to this town, played by Jimmy Stewart, and he's kind of a pushover. And basically the bully is Liberty Valance. He's a gunslinger, outlaw type guy who kind of just rules the town in some ways because he's a bully.
Right.
Just to put it in simplest terms. You go through, basically the story is him telling these reporters after when he's older, because he's a congressman or a senator at this point, what the real story is in Liberty Valance, because what they always heard was that he killed Liberty Valance and that shot him up to fame.
Right.
And so it goes through the whole story. You find out that John Wayne's character actually kills him. Sorry, spoiler, guys, but it's an old movie. You haven't seen it, and I'm not ruining it. I think there's a lot of good stuff.
And Eric Hudson's also agreeing it's a great film.
Oh, yeah. And at the end of it, the two newspaper guys, one's older and one's younger. The older guy basically takes the notes and throws them away. And the guy's like, what's going on? He goes, when you know the truth, you print the legend.
Right.
The Greatest Showman is kind of the legend. of P.T. Barnum.
Right.
And it's done with modern music. It's done as a musical. If you don't like musicals, you're not going to like this. I like musicals. I've mentioned before, I go to a lot of musicals and plays over the years. And I truly was engrossed in the whole thing. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Right.
The story was fun. It got a couple little things here and there that you can tell dealt with some of the real life things in his relationships and stuff like that, but they didn't get too heavy with it, and it wasn't about trashing certain things. It was more about it basically was a story of hope in a lot of ways, of taking people who were the misfits, and this was true where in New York in the mid 1800s when he was doing this, before he started the circus, the people in New York didn't want these freaks there.
Right. And to be fair to P.T. Barnum, it's easy to go the other extreme and paint him as a complete villain too for the way he acted in his real life too. So a lot of times we take things out because cultural context does matter.
Yes.
The way things were at a certain period of time and why people acted the way they did, it does matter. And to take events of somebody's life from a certain period and to put it into today's terms is serving them an injustice too, because so you can also go to the other extreme.
Yeah, and it just showed because he wasn't perfect in this movie. There was things, even though he brought these people together for one reason, he had ulterior motives himself, and always did. And they talked a lot about that stuff and different things, but it was more of just a fun musical. It's something I could actually see them adapting for the stage, and doing the reverse instead of going to a movie. Yeah,
and plus, and for me, I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to, and I'm a big Hugh Jackman fan. Just as far as being a person, he's just a great person. Like everything you hear about him privately, and well,
he's been married for the same woman for over 20-something years, and anytime you see him talk about it, there's always things. I've never heard anybody talk ill of him in any way, shape, or form.
Not only that, but actually, when you see him talk about his wife, you can tell he still loves her.
Yeah,
it's not like we're with her. Yeah, it's not like that at all. So it's really cool.
Well, and his talent, separate from that part, is and this is a little bit of whatever you want to think, but he is kind of the greatest showman nowadays. You see him playing anything from Wolverine. He's done stage work.
Yeah.
I love to have seen him when he did Broadway, a show called The Boy from Oz, and I forget who it was about, but it was I think it was a fashion guy, but I remember seeing clips and going, wow, I didn't realize Hugh Jackman could sing and dance.
Yeah, well, that was more his origins originally.
Yeah.
What's amazing about him is he really strikes that perfect balance of he's the handsome guy. He can do all the stuff that women love, but he's still a man's man, and men respect him and look up to him too.
Yeah.
It's like he's not having to choose one or the other. He's just who he is, and everyone can like him. If you like the super macho type, he fits that.
Yeah.
If you like the more Broadway stereotypical, I don't know what you call it, actor type.
He's a song and dance man.
He's a song and he is that. Yeah. But he embraces that as well. But it's still, you can respect him, and as a man, you still respect him. And for me now, if you're a comic book purist, you're going to hate this, but to me, he is Wolverine. People don't like it because Wolverine's supposed to be 5'3" or whatever,
and he's 6'4".
Yeah, he's tall, but as far as who Wolverine is, to me, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
And I agree with you on that. He completely encapsulated the essence of Wolverine. And when you see him on film, they shot it a certain way so he didn't come across as just super tall. I mean, there's times you see he's definitely got some height to him, but they made it work.
Yeah.
And he worked it in a way that was great.
I'm really hoping with Marvel and Fox now being owned by Disney, I need, and Chris Hemsworth was just talking about this recently too. He would love to see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine brought into and the speculation is the next phase may become X-Men versus Avengers, which was a big storyline in the comics.
Right.
And how awesome would it be to bring back these guys to be in there? Personally, I don't think it'll happen. I think they'll reboot it and go with all new, but I would love that.
Yeah. It'd be nice if they could do one with him. And I know he said he was done after the last movie, but he's also said though on multiple occasions that if they ever ask, he would always do it because he knows that his financial success has come from playing Wolverine, and allowed him to do all the other passion projects he likes to do.
And he really enjoys being Wolverine.
I think he does.
And he keeps blaming he says I can't maintain this physical fitness. When you look at how he was in the very first X-Men movie, he has at least 15 more years before he gets back to where he was. I mean, he's so scrawny in the first X-Men when you see him compared to now he's a beast.
Yeah.
But
like I said, Greatest Showman, I'm recommending it. Go see it. And definitely James said he thought it was Secret Invasion. I think that was one of the things they've talked about, the Secret Invasion.
They have talked about that too. Well, the thing is this though. Whatever plans they were doing are up in the air now because the plans they were doing originally, they weren't able to bring in mutants and all these other ones. Now that Fox is in there, it opens up a lot of possibilities. So they could stick with original plans, or they could be like, wow, it's time to
And
merge.
After next year's movies, they've not announced anything further on the Marvel. They have them slated as future projects.
Right.
In fact, I had something pop up today on my Facebook that I shared a year ago that showed after, I think it's the Ant-Man movie, there really was nothing scheduled at the time a year ago.
Right. Now, internally, they have stuff scheduled, but like what I heard is they don't want to reveal anything because part of the reveal will reveal spoilers of what happens in these current movies.
Right. And I hope they don't reveal too early. Let's get through these movies.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy those as much as possible.
Yeah. So anyways, that's cool. I'm glad you liked Greatest Showman. My only pet peeve in Hollywood is when they take real people and create a fictitious story. One example is Ip Man.
Yeah.
That's the story of Bruce Lee's instructor.
Right.
And I watched that movie. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I started looking into the guy's life and found out it's like all fake.
Yeah.
The guy did nothing. He didn't like fighting. What they did is there was 3 grandmasters or whatever at that time. Pretty much they took the accomplishments of the other ones because they were exciting and merged them into this guy's life so that it would be a fun movie.
Right.
But I'm like what is?
Well,
I hate when they do that.
Well, they did that with the. I always like the Dragon, the Bruce Lee story with Jason Lee. That was and his wife and family was involved in that. So I take that as that's got truth in it. They came out with the movie last year. I tried to watch. I got halfway through and had to stop, and it was about that great fight that he had that he gets injured in the Dragon movie, and it talked about the guy that came over. that he ends up fighting, and it was I'm not gonna name it, but it was like Wing Jong Chen or something like that, and I'm sure somebody knows it. And they were like, "Who's this guy's name?" But it doesn't matter right now because the movie sucked. But basically, they were making Bruce Lee to be this complete jerk, and that nobody liked in some ways, and then he was flipping about certain things. The one thing that was true was that he wanted to teach anybody he wanted martial arts, but they made it sound like he did it strictly just to upset the masters.
Yeah, and not to go too off track on Bruce Lee. Now, there was some interesting video released recently that has called into question Bruce Lee's true abilities. There's video that got released of Bruce Lee working on a heavy bag.
Okay.
And they're just really ripping apart his technique and how bad he looked on it. Now, this is professional saying it.
Yeah.
Me, he'll. If you see me on a heavy bag, I'm going to look like crap. So I'm not critiquing him. But course, a lot of experts in the field who train on these things were saying it's really bad technique he has. So it's curious to see like how much of Bruce Lee really is the legend, like you were saying in the other thing, versus the reality.
Well, and I think that's always important on everything. But even with that, I'd have to know the more context of the video, when it was taken, what the context was.
Right, and I don't know that.
Versus when did he create his Jeet Kune Do versus that, because he changed his style with
he did change because it was that fight he had that a sanctioned fight where he learned basically martial arts as a form is all well and good as exercise, but it didn't do much to actually help him in a fight.
Right.
And while he still prevailed, he felt he should have been far better than he was, and that's where he started implementing a lot of cross training.
And it shouldn't have lasted as long as it did.
Correct. And that's where he started implementing bodybuilding techniques, cardio, and all these other fighting forms, and merge them together into a more complete style. Right. Really, it was the first, in a way, I don't know if it's the first, but one of the first mixed martial arts. He came up with
his daughter has said over the years that he would love MMA because that was the style he was actually moving towards, without them knowing it.
Yeah, and so cool. And then this week, another thing both Brett and I watched. We both got through Series 4 of Black Mirror on Netflix.
I love Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror is such a well-done show. It's the modern-day Twilight Zone.
It's a technology version of Twilight Zone, where everything gears around some sort of technology.
Yeah. It's the near future, as they call it. So everything's based in the world as we know it, but it's, I don't know, maybe 20 years advanced. Or
it's an alternate version of our reality where technology. I mean, one of my favorite episodes from, I think it was season 3, was with Bryce Dallas Howard, and it was all about getting likes on the social media.
Oh, and that's it. They do such a great job of being like these social commentaries on the way we live our lives today, and by putting it in the near future, they're able to hyper exaggerate these microcosms of our lives in today's world. And with that one, with like how important likes were, and they actually Orville too.
Orville tipped on that
similar episode
on a planet they ended up on, and I like that a lot. And then Janice likes Black Mirror too. So
and this month or this series, by far for me the favorite episode was the Callister episode.
Before they launched it on Netflix, they kept hyping it like this is coming. This is and people are saying this looks like it's going to be in this episode. My favorite of the entire series now, but not just this season.
And there's now rumors, because the episode has done well, there's rumors that they are exploring spinning this off into its own series, which I really hope, because the way they did that episode, and I don't want to give away spoilers, so I'll avoid spoilers, but the way they end it, you can totally see how this could continue on as a series.
Yes, and they set up a good catalyst for a good villain.
Oh, yeah. And the Matt Damon lookalike actor, which I always forget his name, he actually, where I first found him was on Breaking Bad.
Yes.
He was on there. He did such a great job in his role. I don't think this is a spoiler because they reveal it so early in the episode.
Right.
It's a cyber world that he's in. Yeah, and in the real world, he's a certain way.
Well,
and in the cyber world,
is the company he helped found. It's all gears around basically like a massive multiplayer online game, kind of like Warcraft or the Star Wars game they had a few years back.
Except you experience it firsthand.
Well, he did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they had the dots, and you kind of go in because it's more. It's a a mental imprint.
But what was different from his was he created a subsection of the game that was separate from everyone else, so he could. There were no outside players.
Right.
So he became a god of this world.
Yes,
is what happened. So, and then you'll have to watch it to see how everything unfolds.
I thought it was fantastic. The main girl that was in it, she was really good, playing a dual role, which you'll see.
Yep. Yeah. So excellent. I really hope this becomes a full-fledged series because I would definitely watch it. As we talked about off air, I won't say the specifics of the conversation because I think it reveals spoilers, but I can see where they could go so many avenues with this if they do take it into a series. So very excited for that. Well, any other episodes really pop out?
I enjoyed this current. I watched them all over a couple days, and I enjoyed this series. I mean, to be honest with you, in some ways, I kind of wish that the Callister episode was last
because it was such a good one.
It was such a good episode.
Yeah. The last one was good, Metalhead was 5. What was the last one? I watched them all back to back, so now they're blurring.
Yeah, well, I get like that too after seeing them, but they were really good. I'm going to go back and rewatch
the DJ was an interesting one.
Yes,
that was basically. I'll just say spoiler alert here because I don't want to. Here's the thing with Black Mirror: when you start watching it enough, what you start realizing is, okay, in some way, this is some kind of computer-generated reality or some twist on reality that's not happening, and whatever is happening is going to really turn out bad for whoever the main character is. That's usually the outcome. But with this one, I found it interesting. No, I won't say spoilers. I just found it interesting because I don't want to ruin it for people listening. Because it's cool when you find the reveal out. But
Dom's sitting there going, please, come on, tell me. No.
The spoiler-free version with Hang the DJ is it's a dating app. Yeah. And they have a system in place to find the perfect matches. And you see what these people go through to find each other. And I thought that was a really great one.
I like that one a lot. And I think basically the premise is that it tells them how long their relationship's going to last.
Yeah. So and you have 12 hours. Yeah. It's like, that's it? Or another one was like a year. So
well, I did like the one guy that the gal dated. Cracked me up. No matter what he was doing, anything involving liquids, he was like,
oh, thanks. Stop that.
Yeah. But, and definitely the episode is rated R.
Oh, the last episode was the Black Museum.
Yes.
That one was very intriguing. That one got really dark.
That one is my second favorite for this season.
Yeah, I kept going back and forth.
I liked it. And the thing was, I kind of had a hint, and some of it was confirmed, but I liked the way it reveals itself through the whole episode.
Yes.
And
they do a good job of unfolding that story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another great one. Very dark.
Oh, yeah.
Storyline. For me, Callister was number 1.
Yep.
Then episodes then my favorites 2 through 5 are pretty much tied.
Yeah.
And then my Metalhead was my least favorite. It was with the robotic dog things, only because there was zero context as to what's happening.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one as much.
It
was okay, but it wasn't.
It was interesting as far as the action goes. It was very suspenseful and the drama of what was going on. But it's like, but why? What's going on? So it was okay.
Yeah.
But the rest I absolutely loved. But anyways, if anyone has any favorites they want to chime in on in the feed, feel free to type them in there. We'll mention it. In the meantime, we have some amazing sponsors, and I'm going to let you know about one of them.
Those watching will notice that Scott's wearing a different shirt he's not worn before.
No, I have worn it once before.
On air,
once before. Yep.
I don't remember.
Yep, once before.
I must have blocked that day out.
And Brett blocks out a lot of things that involve me.
Yeah. I have to sit there and go, okay, let's get rid of this from Scott, get rid of this from Scott.
So I'm wearing the, in quotes, that's what, and under it says she, so that's what she said. Yeah. And I'm wearing this in honor of Jenna Fisher, because I saw a commercial the other day that she's coming back on TV. She has a TV series that she's going to be part of, and I don't remember the name of it. I just was so excited to see Pam coming back. Yeah. Although she's not playing Pam, but for me, she's always Pam.
But that's your big crush.
She's my Pam crush. Of all my Pams in my life. not that there's many, but yeah. So, anyways, and Brett's wearing his Potter Weasley.
Yes,
2020.
now, I do want to say this was a newer version of the shirt. Nothing's changed. I just wore out the other one, so I have a brand new version, and so I'm wearing the cleaned up version.
Cleaned up, because Brett wore it 82 million times.
It's my favorite shirt.
It is a good shirt. You got when we were at Universal Studios, you got tons of compliments on it.
Yeah, I wore it again last month, and again,
and you actually get a bigger response for that one than your the Voldemort one.
The Voldemort Lestrange for some reason doesn't catch the eye as much as this one does. I think
it's the colors.
It's the yellow and the blue really set it off
pops
more than the green and the black.
Yeah, it really pops, and I think people catch it. What's funny is when you wear that, you get compliments. When I wear my Vader Palpatine shirt, I get people thinking it's a real political shirt. Like I had a guy come up to me one time, and he was like, I'm not saying one way or the other for Trump or whatever, but this guy was very anti-Trump, and when he saw the shirt, he thought it was an anti-Trump shirt, and that I was cheering for somebody, and he's like, oh, who is that? I'll totally vote for them next time because I don't want Trump in. And I'm like, you don't know who these people are? And he's like, well, the Vader. Oh, wait, Vader. Isn't that Darth Vader? I'm like, yes, Darth Vader. He's like, oh, well, who's his running mate then? Because I don't know that name. I'm like, that's the Emperor. And it like took him a second, because even while he was saying what the names were, he's still thinking it's a real shirt. Then finally he's like, oh, so it's a satire shirt. I'm like, yes.
I've had one person on that, and they were kind of grilling me on this. I finally looked at it and said, look, it doesn't have to be Harry and Ron. It could actually be Hermione and
maybe it's Dudley. No, that's Dursley.
That's Dursley. No, it would be who Harry ends up marrying, which is Ginny.
Oh, Ginny.
Because it would be Ginny Weasley
or
and
maybe
Hermione
it's just
Potter.
Ginny. Maybe she hyphenated her name, and her name is now Potter Weasley.
Could be.
But anyways, we're getting sidetracked. We have to talk about our awesome sponsor, T-24, where we got these shirts from. And they are unique. They are creators of unique pop culture T-shirts and vinyl decal. And at T-24.com, you'll find over 140 graphic tees and hundreds of vinyl decals based on your favorite movies, TV shows, comic books, and video games.
Yes.
So go to their website, T-24.com. That's TEEMINUS24.com. And check out their fun selection of products. And after you find something you like, use coupon code ODD, ODD, at checkout to get 10% off your entire purchase. And as always, shipping is free. You can also follow T-24 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where they post about their latest designs and share updates from the conventions they attend. Shirts to fit your fandom with T-24.
Yeah, Janice was just saying she got the Old West Cantina shirt from T-24 with the tauntaun tied outside.
Oh, that's right. Yep. And then our other listener, Kim, she won their contest and got the Scarif shirt, if I remember correct.
That sounds right.
And then we got tons of shirts. We love their shirts.
And Sue's on here. Hey, Sue. And I know Sue wants, and she's asking right now, are you making T-shirts with your logo on it? We are working on that with them, and we will make an announcement when T-24 has that available as soon as possible. Because we definitely want to have our logo shirts from them, and hopefully you guys will buy lots of them. So, but if you want to, you can always send us money ahead of time, and we will spend it ourselves.
But yeah, we are in the process of creating logoed wear and other items.
It's a little bit of a process because of how the shirts are printed. So
yeah, we just got to get them.
We'll be talking to them as they're now getting back into the new year themselves, and we will be getting that going ASAP, PDQ, buy early, buy often,
as soon as possible,
yes.
at as slow as a snail. I don't know. No, that's ASAS.
As slow as a possum.
There you go.
But now it's time for the real meat of our show. Is we got our DNA results back. HomeDNA.com.
Yes.
And this has been a fun partnership for both of us. Because both of us, now Scott spearheaded this and went after these companies. And
I went after them.
Yes, he hunted them down. Yes. And when he brought it up, I was like, you know what? I've wanted to do this for a long time. Because I didn't know my real origins.
Right.
And because, nobody in my family really talked about being Irish or German or French or whatever. And so learning this stuff has been a neat thing for me to find out about.
Yeah, so when I first started looking into these different companies, I was looking up, because there are certain companies that you see advertisements for all the time. But I wanted to know, just because I see ads for them doesn't necessarily mean they're the most accurate or best. Not to say they're not good, but advertising dollars doesn't necessarily mean quality.
Right.
So I started researching which companies would be best to get my DNA test results from. And what I found is there was one company that kept appearing on, like, in the top 3 of all these different sites I was looking at that rated these systems. And it was called Home DNA. It's homedna.com. And they're a smaller company, so they don't have the advertising budgets that some of these larger companies have, but they continually showed up as one of the best as far as quality. So I contacted them, and we were able to work out a partnership with them. So we want to thank them for being a sponsor on this show also, because they provided the DNA kits for both Brett and myself, as well as our off-air personality, Al, which is just as integral part of our show. And so Al's results will be coming in soon.
Yes.
So we'll be revealing his results in a future episode. But both Brett and I, we have our results in. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing we talk about is, we'll get into our results here in just a minute, but it's, we decided, we didn't decide, they basically gave us the GPS Origins.
Yes.
Which is a really cool, instead of just normal, here's your breakdown, it actually talks about the migration of your DNA.
Yeah, and the key part to point out is DNA goes back many thousands of years.
Yeah.
So, with our typical ancestry, like I had revealed on air when we started this process, we know ourselves to be roughly 44% Irish, 25% French, 25% Italian, and like 6% Native American Indian. That's what the belief in our family was.
Yeah.
But we only know the last couple hundred years of our family history and the countries they came from. But these borders of these countries, they didn't exist thousands of years ago, where our DNA origins were.
Right.
And those are divided up into 36 major gene pools that these ancestor sites have been able to determine with unique characteristics. And from there, they tell you where those regions are. Mm-hmm. So they're not defined by actual country borders. They're defined by these regions.
Right.
So that's an important thing to point out. But I'll read a little bit from their website as far as the GPS Origins kit that Brett and I got. It contains easy to follow instructions, which it was very easy. We got the kit. You swab your cheek.
It's just an envelope, legal size envelope.
Yep. And you enter in you register the envelope's code into your online account so that it matches your results to your account. It's postage paid envelope that comes with it. And then using the DNA samples you get through the cheek swab, their qualified laboratory tests more than 800,000 unique genetic markers. And they cross-check that information across dozens of gene pools. As we said, I think it's 36.
Yeah.
And more than 800 referenced populations. And they then use your DNA to create a detailed report about where your family originated and how it migrated around the world to where you are today. And that's the key part, because your DNA could be from a certain region, but then between 5,000 years ago to now, there's war, there's famine, there's just changes in jobs, there's trade routes, there's all these different things that cause people to move.
Yes.
And over the course of 5,000 years, a lot has happened. And that's where, for both of us, we got some surprising results that go far beyond just what we know as French, Italian, Irish.
Right. Well, the one thing that I had always heard was, we had Native American, and I'll get to the results on that, how that falls in here. But that was really all I had. Nobody really said much. I'd heard, hints of German,
right.
French, Irish, stuff like that.
Right. So. And just to continue a little bit more on here, what it says is this advanced autosomal test is so targeted, it may even indicate the town or village where groups of your ancestors from different cultures met, building a vibrant picture of the migration journeys that formed your deep genealogical heritage. It's more than 3 syllables, people. Give me a break.
Yeah.
New ancestral tracking technique pinpoints your genetic genealogy. 36 gene pools. These are just the bullet points that we just mentioned above. But so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. But before we get into our results here, and because we're definitely excited about that, and what GPR shows, I do want to talk about Loranger, because part of us learning about our DNA stuff is about who we are, and who I am as someone that needs to be taken care of with wellness.
Yes, because of your ancestors.
Because of my ancestors, they messed me over big time. But your journey to wellness begins here at Loranger Family Chiropractic, one of our great sponsors, and they help build a healthy lifestyle with chiropractic care. So in 1,000 years, when someone does a DNA test, they will know that you took care of yourself through chiropractic. I don't really know if they will now, but
it'll pinpoint on your DNA.
Yes,
to Loranger's.
Exactly. At Loranger Family Chiropractic Center, PC, they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient. Loranger Family Chiropractic offers an on-site digital x-ray service, as well as massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of items, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call at their Belleville location at 734-697-4244. They're also located in Dexter, Michigan as well. You can visit them at LorangerFamilyChiropractic.com. We also have a link at Odd Musings. And if you're not in the area, give them a call and say, hey, I'm trying to find a good chiropractor, and they can try to direct you in the right directions for someone that takes care of you as well as they take care of me. And I know Ashley's been going off and on, and has she gone back yet since we last talked? Or?
Not yet, just because between her work schedule and plus winter weather, it's hard for us because of the distance, but we definitely want to get back there, and hopefully soon.
Yeah. Awesome. So definitely check out Loranger Family Chiropractic, and we're glad to always have them on board. But now it's time for the results.
We need a drum roll.
Ding.
Michael Winslow, you are not. Is that his name?
Yeah, Michael Winslow, yeah.
There you go.
I got the beeps, the creeps, and there's something else.
Okay, so let's start off with your results, Brett.
All right.
What was your original prediction? If I remember, you were just a blend. You didn't have a prediction, did you?
No, but I figured it was kind of more Western Europe, which is really what it turned out to be.
Okay.
In a lot of ways. My number one for percentage-wise, because it gives us all percentages of the gene pool, pulls from southern France. Almost 20%, 19.8% for me. It says and the origin says it peaks in South France and declines in North France, England, Orkney Islands, and Scandinavia, which I'll get into that a little bit too. The next part they call Fennoscandia, which peaks in Iceland and Norway and declines in Finland, England, and France as well. That's 17.8. So that right there covers almost 40% of my makeup.
Now these terms that they're using, like I said, these are not modern day country terms. These are the regions from that time period.
And as our DNA moved and stuff like that. And then to round out my top five, the next two are 12.8 and 12.7%. Both of those are quite equal, which is interesting. It peaks in the Orkney Islands for 12.8%, which is up by Scotland. And reading in the paperwork they gave us when you print this out, it mentioned that Orkney became part of Scotland in the 15th century. And it showed something around, I think 40% of the DNA is still kind of there. So that fits that. So that basically gives me a good chunk of Scottish heritage as well as French heritage.
Yep.
And then ties into the Iceland area.
Which is the Vikings.
Which is Vikings, yeah. And now they haven't been able to pinpoint Viking DNA specifically yet.
Right.
That's something I think they're working on.
Yeah, plus Vikings, they had conquered so much territory, and I think Viking heritage really is a blend of a lot of stuff too.
Right, and that's where I think they're having the hard time of distinguishing how far back certain things go.
Kind of like the what we were talking about before, the Genghis Khan, for instance.
Yes.
He was from Mongolia, but they conquered such a wide area through his conquerings. His DNA and that gene pool ended up getting spread to a lot, which we found in ours.
Yeah, actually, number 4 was Western Siberia, which would be part of that area, as well as Sardinia, which was over towards the Balkans and Greece, Albania, and that part of the region on the Mediterranean. And it goes from there. I have a little southeastern India, almost 10%.
You had one that specifically said Mongolia, didn't it? Yeah.
Yes, that's Tuva, which it peaks in South Siberia, which ties into Western Siberia, and declines in North Mongolia. So that whole area there, right there, I mean, that's almost 5%. So it's almost 20% right there.
Right.
For that region when you really combine them both.
Right.
And then I have some northern India as well as southeastern India, which is interesting. But that, again,
now for me,
would be part of that too.
Yeah, and I also, what the interesting thing in this is me and Brett found out we're almost clones.
Yeah.
Our results are very close. Different percentages, but we're very close. Everything's kind of like...
And as close as we are in this, I still can't grow a beard.
It's my Viking blood.
And I do have 0.3% Northwestern Africa, so I am African American. Western South America is in there too. Now, the interesting part on a couple of these things was, while I've heard so much about being Native American, this doesn't specifically say Native American anywhere on here for me. But
Native American isn't a gene pool,
right? Well, and that's what we were discussing off air. But a lot of that would have come through the Siberia when the 10, 12,000 years ago, when the migration across the great through the Ice Age, when they came over to our land here. Part of that would have been part of that Siberian culture, which is where a lot of the Native American goes back towards.
Yeah. Now, for me, like I said, I share a lot. We have a little bit of difference because I have samples from 14 of the 36 gene pools. You have 12?
11.
11. I would have to say, though, the number one surprise for me is India. So, because I end up being 10%, or let me see, 10.8% Indian.
Yeah, mine comes out at almost 15%.
Yeah, which is surprising. But when you think about it, my Italian heritage that I know of, well, when the Romans had that area, and there was a lot of trade routes that went from the Mediterranean Sea, and they went down to India and then around India.
Well, I think a lot of it too is got to think about the Silk Road.
Exactly.
There was a lot of cultures crossing that for centuries.
Right, and that's where
that would have gone through India as well as like Marco Polo.
Yep, and that's where you can find where you start. That's where the cool thing about the GPS origins is you start getting a map that you get in your head of, oh, okay, I can see where my ancestors would have met somebody from India,
right, and
married into that or whatever, and that DNA would then become part of the gene pool. Some other surprises. Let's see here. So for me, like, I know my background to be French, Italian, and Irish mainly. But the number one ended up being French. When I take the different areas that peak in the French area, I end up being about 30%. And these are the southern France regions, the Basque Country, which also goes into Spain a little bit. So there's some, and then there was another French one somewhere in there. Norwegian, that was a surprise. I didn't realize there was Norwegian and Russian heritage in me, which, the Norwegians are that Fennoscandia.
Right, yeah, I got peaks in Iceland and Norway, which I had that too, and then I have a lot more with the Siberian on the Russian side. And
those are areas where, when you look back at the history, you can easily see how they would have ended up in Ireland, where I know a big part of my Irish background, 50% of it comes from Ireland. Well, DNA-wise, it didn't come from Ireland, but the people who my DNA came from ended up in Ireland.
Well, the migration, like through the French, and then also from the Norwegian area and all that stuff would have come into that area. Right. That's where it ties into Orkney Islands, which you have too.
Yep. I have the Orkney Islands in there, just like you do. Another surprise. Now, this is far down on the list. Oh, I have 2% Native American, so to speak, which is that Central America and South American, and I have 1% Israeli.
Okay.
So I'm 1% of God's chosen people, so that's cool.
Yeah. And I'm not.
I had I had 1.2% from Africa, and then the rest is...
Yeah, and mine was peaks in Algeria, declines in Morocco and Tunisia, which makes sense for the southern France part. Yeah. The whole Mediterranean area, is going to move around. And when you go back in history and look at the conquerors, Alexander the Great, who conquered a lot of northern Africa, as well as through the Mediterranean
and the Roman Empire.
Roman Empire.
So you had all these things happening. Oh, yeah, the other big shock was Russian, 18% Russian, and that comes from the Western Siberia, where I'm 13%, and then forget the other one.
Oh, yeah, the Tuva.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and that's me. I'm 12.7% and 4.8. So right there, I'm looking at almost 18%.
Yeah, because we're brothers.
Yeah,
brothers from another mother.
There we go.
But that is funny though, how close our DNA is as far as the
that was a big surprise.
Very close.
I thought we'd have a little bit different. I know we're both kind of the same complexion, but at the same time, I can't grow a beard. So.
Now this is where my Star Wars heritage comes in, though.
Yeah.
Because I did tease I might be from Tatooine.
Yes.
Well, in the let's see here. It is the Northwest African portion. I'm 0.8% Tunisia.
See, and I'm 0.3%.
Right, and as we know, Tatooine was filmed in Tunisia.
Yes.
So that makes me a Skywalker, I think.
Well, that depends. See, if you remember episode 1, they didn't really say they were born there. They just said they showed up there. Bless you, Dom.
Bless you, Dom.
And so...
Well, Anakin was born there.
Well, was Anakin born there, though? Didn't they fully say that?
Well, in the books, but now that canon is gone. So
yeah, all right, because it don't matter anymore.
I believe Anakin, because he was born into slavery at that time.
Yeah. But besides all the cool information about what's going on there, they give you actually your migration story.
Yes.
And this was fun. This was, for mine was, my migration story A was my ancient ancestry in France. And it says my ancestors came from France prior to 423 BC. So they go way back. So they, of course, give you a whole thing to take a look on. And it talks about Roman France between 52 BC and 485 AD. France was ruled by local leaders in a period known as Roman Gaul. So they were part of the Roman Empire. Mm-hmm. So that's where a lot of that, I'm sure that other DNA was brought over towards that area there, was during that time as well.
And another thing to keep in mind, too, in America, we have this fascination with tracking our heritage.
Right.
And we like to, I'm 25% Italian and whatever. We like to say that, but in a lot of countries and throughout time, when you moved to a country and became a citizen, you just identified as that.
Right.
So they weren't tracking all their percentages and what.
No, identifying as your previous heritage is more of a modern take.
Right.
In the last couple hundred years, really. Because, again, I mean, you see this with a lot of cultures. Well, they still have some of their culture. I see this in the Indian culture when they come over. I know a lot of them said, no, we're Americans, but they still have some of their Indian culture there. Right. But when they get, that's where they go, I'm an American.
Yeah, I mean, as far as culturally goes, I always say I'm American.
Yeah.
If I go to Italy, I know nothing of Italy. I know no Italian. I
know pizza and pasta.
Yeah, that's it. French. I went to France. Guess what? I'm not French. When I was at France, I was American. Everyone saw me and knew I was American instantly.
Yeah.
And so I'm 100% American. Born and raised here. Traditions, everything is me. I'm American.
He's an American brat, born, raised, and trapped.
Yeah, but it is interesting too. It's just fun to see what this is. So if you're getting the results, don't expect it to say you're 25% German. Germany didn't exist 5,000 years ago.
Yeah, you can go through and kind of figure out based on this a little bit more of those regions and where stuff come from.
Right.
But like I said, on my migration story, part B is more about the Russia side. So I mean, primarily I am French and Russian. Throughout the generation. So, and that's how far it goes back. Those are the two it gave me for my migration stories.
Just so for those watching, not that you'll be able to read it, but right here, for instance, we printed up our migration stories, and it gives you your top 3. I think migration stories for your top 3.
I got 2.
Oh, you got 2. Okay, maybe it's based on the total percentage.
Yeah, that's where I think my percentage really boiled down to France, and you got 3 because you got the. No,
my Basque country is 13%. So I got that also, but it's really cool because what they do is they give you a map of the region, and they have it shaded in, and the darker the color is, the more likely that region is, the higher percentage of the chance.
Right.
And then it spreads out from there, and you can look and see where your ancestors actually were. And then it actually gives, like this one, it's a 2-page.
Actually, I may have gotten 3 of those. I'm looking at the migration routes.
Oh, okay.
So I got the Orkney Islands as well. My number 2 was Fennoscandia, and then my number 1 was the French one.
Okay. Yeah, but it gives you a 2-page history lesson in that gene pool and how it migrated over the years.
Yeah.
Which is really fun to read.
Yeah, well, we were very similar. Your number 1 was the Fennoscandia.
Yep.
Where my number 1 was the southern France.
And southern France, my number 2.
Yeah, and then Fennoscandia is where number 2 came in, and number 3 was Orkney Islands.
Yep.
So that's where I had a lot more migration on those side versus, and then the DNA migration routes, which was different from that. It showed through France as well as over in Russia, and it was Western Siberia, north of Moscow, heading up towards Finland.
Now, what's really neat about that part is, I don't know, did you actually click on the markers?
I haven't yet.
If you click the markers, it will actually tell you a time period of when that marker happened and what was happening at that time.
See, I've got to do that. I haven't had a chance to do all that.
So it's really cool. So you click on your beginning marker, and it gives you the origin story. Then you click on the next one, then it's like, around 600 AD, this was happening, and what the culture was and why they moved.
Okay.
So it gives you the reason why it might.
And I'm even learning more as we're going through this. I know there's a lot more information. What I find interesting about my Russian one is it's a path. It's a direct path, straight line heading towards Finland. In France, we're just going to walk in a circle.
Well, I think what you learn is the Russians actually moved closer to the cold.
Yes.
Whereas the French were like, it's pretty nice down here by the Mediterranean Sea.
I'm sure they were going up here going, we hear whale is pretty tasty. Let's go get us some whale.
Yep, and then they formed the Vikings, and
and the Vikings came
conquered all that.
And that's where that's part of my ancient Russian history. It talks about that too.
So now I'm really gonna love wearing my medieval armor. I gotta get some Viking armor now, and I gotta get a horn to drink out of.
There you go.
I have to embrace that Viking heritage, and now I gotta grow my beard longer and braid it.
There you go. Well, it's like a commercial for one of those other ancestry sites where the guy goes, "We always thought we were this in Irish, and now I find out that we're German, so I switched my kilt for a lederhosen."
Well, and even like I've seen some of these reveals on TV where people have actually been upset at what they find.
Yeah.
It's who you are. This is your DNA makeup as far as on a chromosomal level, but it doesn't mean who you are as a person today.
Right.
And if you find out you had some great ancestor, for instance, through some heritage search, and you find out they did bad things, that doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Every single person has an ancestor that goes back at somewhere they did bad things.
Yeah. And if you don't have one, then you're probably the person in the line moving forward. Then it means it's you.
People say so. If you don't know who the a-hole is, it's probably you.
Then it's you. Exactly. That's what I was going for. But
Dom can relate.
Dom can't relate. He's a nice guy.
He's an all right guy.
But how about you, Dom? What any background stories that you know of in your family tales?
It really just stops at my grandparents.
Grandparents?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my grandparents on my dad's side came from Italy.
Yep.
And
from Sicily.
From Sicily.
You got to specify that.
Most likely, if they're from Sicily, you have African in you.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible.
I always do.
That's how mine is. In you? Oh, boy. That's another story.
You got a little African in them.
They were both like orphans. So we don't know anything. My grandparents.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
okay. Both came from Sicily?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Well, I'll tell you, if we can ever get another set, we should have Dom do it because it'd be interesting to see what his results
Now,
are.
my grandpa, his parents were from Sicily, and when he was born in Sicily too, and they came here, he would always specify he's Sicilian. Mm-hmm. They would always clarify that.
Well, anybody I've ever met, they're either Italian or the Sicilian.
Yeah.
And there is a difference in terms of how they perceive their culture.
Yeah, they definitely perceive each other differently.
The slang is so different than Northern. That's almost like another language.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is separated by a little bit of water there, so it's got the island.
Well, it's the football that the Foots could.
Yep.
Don't get kicked around.
They get kicked around. They feel like that, too.
Of course, the beauty is you go to Sicily, you get the Sicilian pizza. You go to Northern Italy, you get their version, the Neapolitan pizza.
Right.
It's all broken down by pizza.
And regardless of what the actual DNA is, I know for a fact my grandpa's side was born and raised in Italy and came from Italy. I know they're Italian.
Right.
But the DNA results show where their ancestors came from.
Well, yeah, because this goes back thousands of years.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. It's not breaking down like, yes, you're this, you're that. That's all modern takes on that.
Right.
Because even how the countries are broken down now, that still wasn't going, 2,000 years ago was a whole different thing.
Yep. So for anybody listening, if this intrigues you and you're interested to find out about your heritage, go to homedna.com. They're the ones that sponsored this, and we're glad they did because this was a really fun exercise for us to take a stroll down our ancestral lane and see what was in our background. And check it out. It's homedna.com. And when you go there, you're going to go to the Ancestry tab and then select GPS Origins Test Kit. And from there, you can order your kit. They're normally $199 is the normal price. That's $199. And if you use our code ODDMusings, no spaces between the words, ODDMusings at checkout, you'll get $50 off of your order.
I think that's a great deal.
Yeah, it's a really good deal. It's well worth it. After I got my results, my mom was looking at it and she thought it was so cool. She went online and ordered a kit. She already she took the test and the results just came back. But I'm not going to reveal those yet because my daughter also thought it was cool, so she asked for it for Christmas. So she had an Ancestor kit done, a GPS kit.
Yeah.
So we're waiting on her results to come back now.
And you were talking about off air that you're going to compare yours and your mom's. I think you need to compare Ashley's too to see the difference there.
Well, what's cool is we have 3 generations.
Yes.
And so it will be really neat to go back. So those 2 ordered kits, we're waiting on those results. And Al, our unseen member of the team, he has his results he's waiting on. So we'll do a future episode to update on Ashley and my mother and Alan's results.
Yes, that'd be a fun one to kind of look at that, and also to see how it compares to yours for your generational part.
Yeah, I might find out that I'm actually not part of the family. Who knows?
Well, part of our Odd Musings family is our other sponsor, International Minute Press, located in Plymouth, Michigan, where they design and print and promote you. They offer specialty printing services, custom graphic designs, marketing consultation, and promotional products. IMP has the services and skills to help artists and entrepreneurs looking to take their business to the next level by exceeding client and customer expectations. Located in Plymouth, Michigan at 1058 South Main Street. Their phone number is 734-414-6203. They do ship anywhere in the country. They deal through the internet at myprinter.intlminutepress.com. We have a link in Odd Musings, don't worry. And you can definitely send them anything. They will send you whatever you need. They did our banner that's behind us on the video here, which they did a great job on. We're still very happy about it, although Scott forgot it last week, but that's okay. The video wasn't working.
I didn't forget it.
He grabbed the wrong one.
I grabbed the wrong one.
But
I open it up and it's my banner, my art banner. I'm like, what is this?
And we've had previous episodes where Joe, who is the owner of International Press, has hung out with us.
Yeah.
And he's always fun. So definitely check them out.
Great guy. Actually, I'm getting ready to place an order with Joe because we have an upcoming show.
Yes.
We'll be talking about
February 2nd through the 4th.
Yep, in Atlanta.
And we're going to be in Atlanta, Georgia.
For Days of the Dead.
Days of the Dead. You know, we've talked the last few episodes, both Scott and I have scaled back our shows. Yep. So if it's something you're looking forward to seeing us at a show, you really want to pay attention to these. I'll be putting my list up on my website. But we're going down there with Kevin Miner.
Yep.
And I don't know if he'll have the Creatures and Creators book with him or not, but I know he's finishing that up to get that out to everybody through the Kickstarter.
Yep, so Kevin will be there, Brett, myself. So come on down if you're in the Atlanta area. I know some people down there who told me they were planning on coming out, so hopefully I'll see them.
Yeah.
Because I only get to see them like once every 2 years because I don't do many Atlanta shows.
I haven't done an Atlanta show. I think the last one I did was 2011 when it was Dragon Con, so it's been 7 years.
Yeah, so looking forward to being down there. Hopefully the cold weather doesn't follow us there.
I'm hoping not. I would like a surprise 85 degrees.
Yeah, so if you have been to these shows and have seen the prints that Brett and I provide, that's the work of International Minute Press. So they do a great job. Can't say enough about them. Joe's a great guy, very knowledgeable. His background is in art, so he understands colors and how they should look, and it's really made a difference with my prints.
Yes, and I've got to get an order in as well as I go through and see what I need to take down with me. I just got in my traveling backdrop kit. Came in yesterday, so I'm all set with that.
Awesome. Oh, it came in good.
Yep, and so I want to make sure I had that ready because it's smaller than my normal one, but it'll travel easier and fit in a suitcase.
Right.
And that. But look forward to that.
And then what about artwork-wise, Brett? Where can people find you?
They can find me at brettpinson.com, BRETTPINSON.com.
Cool.
At this point, I still have my print store up, but that will be going away January 31st. I'm going to take that down.
So if you do want to order something, get on there now because it's coming down soon.
Yep, I will still leave all my comics available on there. I made some changes there.
And speaking of your comics, you're currently working on Boomtown Scabs number 5.
Yep. And
so if you guys want to buy 1 through 4, you could do that now.
Correct.
And be read up so when 5 comes out.
Because when 5 comes out, I'm going right into trade with it. I will have an individual issue for those that collect the issues. I will also be jacking up the price of issue 1 to an astronomical price because they are a limited print run. I can't reprint them at all the exact same way. They were not print on demand. I bought 2,000 ahead of time. And and so what I've got left of those, I'm going to really jack up. So if you guys want to get that at a good price, you should get it now. And because I'm just that kind of guy. But because eventually when I go to the trade, that's all I want to take the shows anyways is trades.
And then I'm really excited about Brett and I have had some conversations, and we're about to really get into our Oddlands book that we will be coming out with later this year. We'll be doing Kickstarter on. So we've been with the holiday seasons and everything. We took a break on it during this last month, but we're really excited to jump back in and really make it a focus. So I'm hoping end of February, beginning of March, we'll be able to do the Kickstarter.
I'm hoping we can actually launch it when we do the Great Lakes Comic Con.
Yeah,
and that'll take us through the end of March when I do WonderCon in Indiana.
So we're about to really go deep on that because we have some really fun character designs. Some people we've shared it with, and the concept of the story, it's getting good feedback on. So I can't wait to share that with everybody, and I think you guys will like it too. And and then as far as myself goes, as you know, I'm back in real estate. I do my artwork, which you guys can find that. But I want to talk about my real estate real fast.
You got a couple minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you happen to know anybody looking to buy or sell a house, or even if you're not looking but you like to stay up to date on what's going on in the market, contact me. My website is scottzambelli.com. Just go there, and all my information's there, and you can request a market analysis through there of your home. I have really cool apps you can download to your phone if you like to keep track of the real estate in your area. Yep. Or if I'm here for all your real estate needs. So maybe you don't need to buy a house, but you have plumbing issues and you need to find a plumber. We have great connections through our real estate office. I can recommend someone to you. So you can do that, or give me a call on my cell, 586-549-6096, and I'd be glad to help you out there. And that's enough of me plugging myself. But
well, we should make sure, since you handle the website, make sure our information's up on the website too for Odd Music.
Yeah, and I got tied up last week. I forgot to double check that, so I will. I'm making a note of it as we speak.
Do that.
And one last plug we'll give for Dominic. You have your new comic book that we got to see firsthand. It's printed.
They had to expedite me some early copies because it's still coming into the country. But the actual release party is this Friday, the 12th, at Rogue Brewery.
Oh, was I invited?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, you
awesome.
both were.
Oh, were we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I will try to.
I never got it.
No, you said you were coming.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I know what I'm doing on Friday.
Actually, I do. I am interested in being there.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I got to pay better attention to Dominic's post.
Oh, we got busted.
I thought I was just liking the fact that he was doing something.
And for those listening, what's the name of the comic book?
Donnybrook.
Donnybrook. It's an awesome concept. You yourself grew up playing hockey.
Right.
And this book is a collection of your experiences.
It's for mature audiences only.
It is for mature audiences.
Yes.
I should say it's for immature audiences.
Not going to get into too much, but Johnson makes an appearance.
Nudity, swearing. It's for children to enjoy.
It's an accurate portrayal of experiences you've had in locker rooms and other things.
Yes.
Now, I did share this week, Scott, modeling the belt for your fish fiasco. When is that?
That is January 27th and 28th. But actually, so the release party for Donnybrook is this Friday, January 12th at Roke. $1 from every beer sold that night will also go to the Frozen Fish Fiasco. It's a fundraiser as well.
So you're telling me drink a lot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Drink for charity, people.
It's for a good cause.
That's right.
Oh, great. We're going to have some drunken comic book guys there. Is Mielo coming out?
Isn't that just called Tuesday?
Drunken nerds everywhere.
Yeah, I have a feeling a good friend of yours, a guy I know, Tony Mielo, he's probably going to be out there just drinking like a fish to help out the Frozen Fish Fiasco.
I think he was the first one to sign up.
Yeah. I've seen him drink at cons.
Yes.
And if you're listening, Tony, just making fun of you, bud.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Listen, we've had a great show.
Yeah, great show.
You guys learned a lot about us, a lot more than
episode 36 is now in the books.
It was a very revealing episode today.
We will have to...
In our final thoughts.
Connie the Comic-Con mom just chimed in saying she'll be designated driver. So Brett might be hammered.
Yeah.
A rare sight.
Yeah. I'm sure that the Frozen Fish Fiasco is going to get $1 from me because that's about all I can drink. So.
Yeah, Brett. For those who don't know, Brett doesn't drink. And you drink the first time ever that I've seen you. I know you
was in
drank
Vegas.
It was in Vegas, and you had like one or something. But
I had 3.
Oh, you had 3,
But they were small. But even then, I knew my limit in that.
Yeah,
But I really can't drink because it just doesn't affect me. But yeah, I don't know. Welcome. Do they got food at this place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Maybe we'll come out for food. I like food and that stuff. But this was fun.
Yep.
This is fun sharing what we learned on this journey of DNA, and look forward to revisiting in the future here. Next week we'll be back with another fun episode.
Fun.
We'll keep it a secret for now because we don't know what we're doing yet.
Yeah, it's so secret we don't even know.
Yeah. And we'll talk about more. Maybe we'll talk a little next week. We didn't talk about this week, but shows are coming back in 2019 that were a little surprising, like Rick and Morty, Game of Thrones, and
shows we have to wait a whole year for.
A whole year, man. So maybe we'll complain about that next week.
Maybe. We'll see. So
until then, Dominic, take us out, buddy.
adios.